contained the nightmare. The walls of Research Station 12, they were thick, 12 feet of alloy and psychic dampeners, but it didn't stop the staff from hearing the thing inside. It wasn't the sound of claws or teeth that haunted them. No, it was the silence between its movements. Deliberate, patient, intelligent. The creature had been dubbed Specimen Z-93 by the Galactic Council, though most of the researchers had given up trying to speak of it clinically. Behind closed doors, they called it the Apex, Void Spawn, or simply the monster. It wasn't supposed to exist. Bred by the long-extinct Skarn, a race of bioengineers who created living weapons, the Zareth-class entity had survived the extinction of its creators, slaughtered entire defense fleets, and vanished for centuries. That it was now locked inside a magnetic containment cube just a few meters below the surface of this quiet moon was both a miracle and a ticking bomb. Dr. Urilf, a thin, pale Caldarian scientist with trembling mandibles, stood before a holographic console, sweat dripping from his carapace. "It's adapting to the psychic suppressors," he muttered, watching as the energy output levels climbed steadily. Beside him, Commander Reix of the Council Enforcement Corps shook her scaled head. "We need to dismantle it before the humans find out we have it. You know what they'll do." Urilf hesitated. "They might be the only ones who can interface with it. Their neurological resilience." "No," Reix snapped. "They'll make it worse." Milo Briggs had no idea what any of that meant. He was just here to mop floors. The hallway stank of ozone and chemical sterilizers. He wore a faded blue jumpsuit with a patch that read Terran Sanitation Division, contract hashtag 408B. Earth had only recently been admitted into the council, and Milo, who barely graduated high school, was one of the first human civies allowed to work off-world. Sector 9, he muttered, consulting his datapad. Maintenance code 17G, and used lab space. The door whooshed open with a hiss of pressurized air. Milo stepped inside. The space was dark, cold, quiet, except for the low hum of containment fields. He wheeled his mop bucket forward, sloshing as he moved across the glossy floor. The sound echoed. At the far end of the room stood a cube, suspended in the air, rotating slowly. Pale blue lines of light framed its edges. Inside the cube, barely visible, was a shape. Massive, coiled, breathing. Milo squinted. What the hell? Two golden eyes opened in the dark. The monster watched him. Its body, eight-limbed and covered in black crystalline plating, stretched in a slow, deliberate motion. It moved like liquid shadow, dense and weightless all at once. A mouth split down its chest, revealing rows of shifting teeth. But it didn't lunge. It didn't roar. It didn't move toward the walls. It leaned forward and tilted its head. Milo blinked. "Are you looking at me?" He set down his mop. Despite the sheer, primal terror whispering in the back of his skull, something held him still. Not courage, not stupidity, something else, an odd sense of recognition. "You're not screaming or trying to kill me. So that's promising." The creature blinked once, slowly. Milo took a step forward. The containment field fizzled in the air, crackling with invisible force. The glass separating them glowed faintly, dotted with warning glyphs. And yet, he wasn't afraid. He raised a hand, pressing it to the glass. The Zareth stared. Then, impossibly, it unfolded one long arm, tipped with claws like obsidian blades, and pressed its hand exactly where his was. Claw to palm, mirror to mirror. In the control room above, alarms exploded to life. "Breach detected. Level 7 containment compromise," shouted the AI. Scientists shouted over each other, slamming buttons, summoning guards, preparing gas protocols, and psychic dampeners. Who authorized this? Who's in there? Human. It's a human. The cameras zoomed in. Council members watched in stunned silence as the Zareth, the most feared creature in galactic history, sat down. Its head lowered, its spines retracted, and then the sound came, picked up by 27 microphones and vibration sensors. A low, deep purring. Milo grinned. "You're just a big OL space kitty, huh?" The creature blinked again and gave a short, croaking chirp, a sound not previously recorded in any encounter logs. Its mouth curled back. Not a snarl. Not hunger. Something like contentment. Above, Commander Riex dropped her datapad. It purred. Dr. Urulf whispered, "By the stars." It purred for him. And from that moment forward, nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. The mop incident. Milo Briggs wasn't sure if the giant alien monster was going to eat him or ask for a cuddle. But either way, he figured moving was a bad idea. The thing, this massive, black-armored death beast, was still sitting calmly on the containment floor, one clawed limb resting where his hand pressed the glass. Its golden eyes blinked slowly, studying him like he was something curious. Fragile. Important. Milo stayed frozen in place, heart pounding in his throat. He wasn't a brave man. He fixed clogged waste processors and wiped floors. But something in the Zareth-class expression, if you could even call it that, felt sad. Or maybe he was just projecting. A minute passed, then another, and still the monster didn't move. From above, muffled shouting echoed through the chamber. Red emergency lights pulsed like a heartbeat. Milo swallowed hard. "You're really not going to bite me, are you?" The creature let out a low trill. Not quite a growl, almost a reply. His hand slipped, just slightly, as the sweat on his palm smeared across the glass. Reflexively, he reached to adjust it, and knocked his mop handle, which slipped from the bucket and smacked the glass with a loud thunk. Instantly, the creature stood. Milo flinched, stumbling backward, breath catching in his throat. The Zareth loomed tall again, spines rising, the hum of power behind its form intensifying. OSH. But the thing didn't attack. Instead, it tapped the glass with one long claw. Milo blinked. Another tap. Then a second, softer trill. "Wait, are you mimicking me?" The Zareth tilted its head again. "You are. You cheeky bastard." Milo exhaled, half laughing. "You're just messing with me, huh?" In the observation room, chaos reigned. Council security forces swarmed in full armor, aiming energy rifles at the containment cube. Scientists shouted telemetry data. Psychic dampeners fluctuated wildly. The senior xenopsychologist had fainted. "Get him out of there!" screamed Commander Riex. "That human is going to compromise the entire facility." "No," Dr. Urulf whispered, watching the feed. "We need to watch this. He's changing it." They watched as Milo knelt and pressed both palms to the glass. And the Zareth, this weapon of genocide and galactic extinction, pressed its own claws gently to meet them. The seismic purr began again, measured, rhythmic. Not a threat display. A connection. Urulf turned to the council envoy with dawning horror. "I think it likes him." Milo had no idea what he'd done right. But the more he talked, the more the creature seemed to respond. He gave it space, kept his voice low, moved slowly. "You've been alone in here a while." A blink. "That makes two of us." The Zareth shifted its weight, slumping to the floor again. Its sharp exterior, jagged plating, and biocrystal spines almost looked softer now. Milo sat down across from it, mop forgotten. "You know, I had a dog once. Big guy, Ridgeback mix. Looked scary as hell, but he was a softie." The monster listened. It really listened. He'd freak out during storms. Wouldn't stop shaking unless someone touched him. Maybe the same. Another trill. A low, harmonic vibration rolled through the floor like a living sigh. Milo smiled genuinely now. The weight of his life, leaving Earth, taking a job scrubbing alien toilets, being treated like cosmic janitorial scum, suddenly lifted. Because here, in this impossible moment, something noticed him. Something powerful, and maybe even kind. "I think you just needed someone to see you." The Zareth extended one claw, tore the glass again. Slowly, deliberately, Milo reached out to match it. When security finally arrived to extract him, Milo didn't resist. For heavily armed council guards yanked him backward, shouting orders in languages he didn't understand. He watched the creature as he was dragged away. It didn't attack. It didn't rage. It just stared. A low whine escaped it as Milo disappeared from view. Back in the control room, Commander Riex paced furiously. "That human is a hazard. Whatever bond has formed, it's dangerous. Weaponized sympathy could destabilize council power." Dr. Urulf, still stunned, only replied, "Or it's the first sign of hope we've had since this thing was captured." She glared. or it's the beginning of the end. A hollow screen showed the creature curled near the glass again, spines low, breath steady. The caption below read, Subject Z, 93. Anomalous behavior, docile state initiated, human presence dependent. In a clean containment room, Milo sat alone, hands cuffed, a med scanner buzzing beside him. A Zentari nurse examined him with 6 eyes. You touched it, she whispered, awe in her voice. You touched the death-made flesh. And it purred. Milo gave a tired shrug. Yeah, weird day. Then, after a pause, he added softly. It looked lonely. Purring diplomacy. Words spread like solar fire through the Galactic Council. The human made the Zareth purr. It was impossible. A myth in real time. The death beast engineered to consume starships, now calm as a tamed cub because of one Terran janitor. The footage, Milo Briggs sitting cross-legged beside the containment glass while the Zareth lay curled in mimicry, was played across every known communication net. Aliens of 100 worlds watched in stunned silence. Some laughed, others panicked, a few wept. In the heart of the council chamber, war erupted, not with weapons but words. This cannot stand, bar-tied delegate Razik, her dozen eyes vibrating in fury. Humanity must relinquish all contact with the specimen. This is a threat to galactic stability. They didn't weaponize it, replied Ambassador Lin Cho of Earth, standing calmly amid the storm. They connected with it. Rix, in full command armor, slammed her fist on the table. That thing destroyed 3 star systems. You've seen the archives. Your janitor scratched its chin and turned it into a house pet. That should terrify all of us. Cho didn't flinch, or it should make us wonder what else we got wrong. Silence followed. Meanwhile, Milo sat in a reinforced observation cell, drinking council-issued protein fluid that tasted like regret and rubber. The guards watched him like he was a bomb wrapped in skin. He wasn't afraid. He was worried. Is Snuggles okay? He asked the intercom. You guys didn't, zap him or anything, right? No answer. I know how you look at him. Like he's a monster. But he didn't hurt me. He listened. Hell, he acted more human than some folks I know. The intercom clicked. Dr. Uralth's voice came through, hesitant. We haven't seen this behavior before. You're the first subject not only to survive contact, but to induce passive bonding patterns. What did you do? I gave him a name. A name? Yeah, Snuggles. Dead silence. Then, you named the most lethal organism in the known galaxy. Snuggles? Milo shrugged. He responded. Back in the observation cube, the Zareth paced, restless. Since Milo's removal, its docility had faded. The vibrations it emitted no longer registered as purring, but anxious thrumming. Whines. The hum of a being confused, displaced. Every attempt to replicate the bond failed. Council operatives in empathy suits sent mimics, even neural projections of Milo's image. The Zareth rejected all of it. And worse, it had stopped eating. 3 days passed. Finally, the council relented. Under strict supervision, Milo was led back to the chamber. He walked slowly, hard in his throat. This time, he was nervous. What if it didn't remember him? What if they were wrong? The moment he stepped into the chamber, the Zareth froze. Then, like a child recognizing a parent, it bounded toward the glass. Not in rage, not in attack, in relief. The guards raised their weapons until the creature pressed its massive skull against the barrier, letting out a long, rumbling purr. Milo approached and touched the glass, smiling. Hey, buddy. The purr deepened. It's okay. I'm here. The Zareth sank to the ground and rolled partially to its side. For the first time in recorded history, it exposed its vulnerable core. To a human. The council watched in speechless awe as Milo sat beside it and told it stories of Earth, of oceans, dogs, thunderstorms, and peanut butter sandwiches. The monster listened, and for that brief hour, peace lived in the heart of the most dangerous life form ever created. Later that night, back in his cell, Milo sat alone. Uralth appeared on the other side of the glass. We are reevaluating everything. Milo looked up. You mean the Zareth? I mean the universe. A long pause stretched between them. Then, it shouldn't be possible. Every known species that's come in contact with it has suffered mental collapse or violent death. But you? It reaches for you. It was made to kill, right? Milo asked quietly. Yes. Then maybe, he said, it never got a chance to be anything else. Urulf blinked. You think it can change? Milo smiled, tired but sincere. I know it already has. Meanwhile, in a dozen hidden chambers across the stars, other powers whispered. If humans could tame death itself, what else might they command next? Apex no more. The shuttle drifted silently above the cradle of Earth, its hull gleaming with the logos of both the Galactic Council and the Terran Diplomatic Corps. Inside, Milo Briggs sat cross-legged on the padded floor of the observation deck, a steaming cup of synth coffee in one hand. Beside him, curled like a massive obsidian serpent, lay the Zareth. Snuggles, the apex predator, the extinction weapon, the nightmare of 100 species, now resting with his head in Milo's lap, purring like a freighter engine at idle. Milo stroked the ridge between the creature's eyes. Snuggles emitted a soft trill and curled his armored tail around Milo's legs. It was peaceful, surreal, fragile, just like trust. 2 weeks had passed since the Council authorized a new classification for the Zareth, sentient non-hostile underbond. A compromise of sorts. Not a citizen, not a weapon. Something new. Ambassador Lin Cho had argued for hours in the Grand Hall, citing precedent, psychology, and, most importantly, the footage. The footage of a human making the monster of legends roll over for belly rubs had been viewed 42 billion times. That was more than any war footage, more than any council decree, more than any species' first contact. Snuggles had become a symbol. Of danger, yes, but also of possibility. Milo wasn't interested in politics. He still didn't understand how the council worked, or why they suddenly wanted to call him cultural liaison and assign him a full diplomatic escort. He just wanted Snuggles to be okay. You getting bored yet, big guy? Milo asked, sipping his drink. We'll be home soon. Earth. Real gravity. Trees. Snuggles flicked a tail spike lazily. They won't know what to make of you. Back on Council World, chaos simmered beneath the polished surface. Some factions believed the human-monster bond was a sign of galactic destabilization. Others saw it as evolution. A few demanded the weapon be reclaimed, dissected, destroyed. But none dared make a move. Not while the creature remained peaceful. Not while humanity, chaotic, emotionally illogical, and now clearly dangerous in unexpected ways, held its loyalty. A single human had bonded with the galaxy's most dangerous life form. Not with pheromones, not technology, but empathy. That terrified the powerful far more than teeth or claws ever could. When the shuttle entered Earth's orbit, Snuggles stirred. Milo leaned close. You feel that? That's home. The creature looked out the viewport. Blue oceans, green forests, no plasma fields, no steel skies, just wind. Life. Milo reached for the comm control. This is Envoy Transport 9 Delta. Touchdown confirmed. And tell Animal Control they don't need the backup. He's house-trained. A voice stuttered on the other end. Roger that, Briggs. They landed in a secure clearing outside a Terran biosanctuary. No weapons, no chains, just a wide-open space where Snuggles could move freely and be observed not as a threat, but as a guest. The Zareth stepped onto Earth soil for the first time, his clawed feet pressed into dirt. A bird flapped by overhead. He flinched, then tracked it with fascinated eyes. Milo followed, hands in his pockets. A few researchers stood in the distance, unsure whether to bow, run, or faint. Snuggles sniffed a tree, then leaned against it, then lay down, and sighed. The death machine, built to conquer stars, was basking in sunlight like an overgrown cat. In the days that followed, Milo kept his schedule simple. Wake up, walk Snuggles, feed him protein bricks and leftover hot dogs. Let the scientists scan him as long as they kept their distance. One day, a child wandered past the sanctuary line. She stared at Snuggles with wide eyes. Is he scary? She whispered. Milo knelt beside her. He used to be, but now, I think he's just figuring out who he really is. The girl nodded solemnly, then waved at Snuggles. He blinked at her, then purred so loud the ground shook. She laughed, and for the first time in its long, tortured existence, the Zareth made a new sound, a chirp that almost sounded like a giggle. The council sent envoys. So did empires. Every species wanted to meet the human who tamed terror. Some offered titles. Others offered threats disguised as diplomacy. Milo declined most. He wasn't a hero. He was a janitor who saw something everyone else had missed. A creature built to kill that just wanted to be seen. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, Milo sat with Snuggles under a tree. "You ever wonder what you could have been," he murmured, "if they hadn't made you for war?" Snuggles pressed his head gently into Milo's shoulder. A moment later, Milo whispered, "Yeah, me too." In the stars, the story would become legend. Not of a battle won or a planet saved, but of a bond, of a hand on glass, of a monster that purred, and of a human who believed even the sharpest teeth could be taught to smile.